Before I get started with this story, let me give a shout out to Black Jack on Twitter for sending it to me. And he said, is this a Stragtail video? Listen, I am not doing the Stragtails or the DNU videos anymore on the channel. But if you like to listen to the video and feel that in the spirit of those, that they would fit into those categories, be my guest. But if I was still doing those series of videos, then I definitely would have thrown her into this category. So this woman's name is Cadesha Bishop, and when she was 25 years old, she pushed an elderly man off of the bus, and he ended up dying because of, the push that she gave him. He pretty much, he died from the impact. And she recently has just been given a sentence. I don't know what her sentence is going to be. This is actually my first time hearing about this story. Like I said, she was 25 when she did this, and this is now 3 years later because she's currently 28. So I'm going to go ahead and read this and see what her sentence is. Cadesha Bishop, who was 25 years old at the time of the incident, had been traveling on a Las Vegas public transit bus in 2019. Serge Fournier, age 74, saw her arguing and shouting profanities at other passengers on the bus as captured in surveillance footage. He asked her to be nicer to those around her before attempting to leave the vehicle using his walker. However, as he turned his back to the exit the bus, Bishop forcefully pushed him with both hands, causing him to topple out of the door and onto the pavement. His head landed approximately 8 feet from the bus doorway. The police report earlier detailed, with Fournier being pushed with enough force that he would never touch any of the steps. Bishop was also seen walking away from him without offering any assistance, instead leading her son away from the scene of the crime. Fournier passed away a month later. Clark County coroner, a medical examiner, ruled his death to be the result of complications arising from blunt force torso injuries, in addition to his death being a homicide. Bishop was arrested soon after and held at Clark County Detention Center on a $100,000 bail before being released and placed on a high-level electronic monitoring. Nearly 2 years later, Bishop has been sentenced to 8 to 20 years for abuse of an older person, resulting in death, while also receiving credit for the 252 days of time served. She pled guilty to the charge and asked the judge to be referred to some type of program, the Las Vegas Review-Journal reports. I'm just asking the court for help. The way I've just been portrayed it's just not fair for somebody who's never been in trouble before, she said. I'm sorry for my behavior. I'm sorry for the way that I was portrayed in my lowest and weakest moment of my life, Bishop also said during the hearing. According to her attorney, Stephen Spellman, Bishop suffers from bipolar disorder and she reports PTSD. While never minimizing the pain of the family's loss, of course, nor being an excuse, it certainly helps me understand a little more how this tragedy might have come about. However, District Judge Tiara Jones replied, the actions in this case make you not a probation candidate. I'm not putting you on probation. That is not happening here today. Yeah, because the man ended up dying. And let's be real here. This is a black woman here, and the man that she killed was a white man. It was an older white man that she pushed off that bus. And like they said, she pushed him with enough force that his feet didn't even touch the steps. So she pushed him very hard and with all of her force. As a matter of fact, let me pause this right quick. This right here was captured on the surveillance footage of her pushing the man off of the bus. This is her right here, and these are her hands. And he ended up laid out, they literally have it in blocks that I'm looking at. And I'm not going to show the last picture where he's literally laid out on the ground, but I can describe it to you. He's laid out on the ground, kind of on flat and to the side. And he's literally laying on top of his walker. If you can see, the walker is right here. But when he's laid out on the ground, his walker is beneath him and he's knocked out unconscious. All because she was getting into it with somebody else and he asked her, can you just keep it down and everything like that. And she got that irate and mad at him that in that fit of rage, she pushed him off of that bus and he ended up dying, not immediately, but he ended up dying a month later, which means he probably fell into a coma and they just probably pulled the plug on him. And because of his age, it wasn't much they could do for him. There was no way he was going to recover from those kind of injuries because of his age and being 74. So she's got to deal with that. In my opinion, she got the sentence she deserved. She's actually lucky she got that, and she didn't get like a life sentence. So it kind of caught me off guard that she only got 8 to 20 years, and she got time served so far. So she's lucky she didn't get a life sentence. So that means that, you know, she's 28 now. She went in when she was 25. That means when she's about 45, if she does all 20 years, that's when she'll be out. Maybe now she can use that time to just reflect on what she did, because that definitely could have been avoided. Now, they mentioned something about her bipolar disorder or some, you know, kind of mental conditions that she's had. Now, we know when it comes to us, that rarely ever flies. But hypothetically speaking, if she did have that, that definitely could play a part. But in this case, it did not work in her favor. And I think what also didn't help her is after she pushed him off of that bus, she got off that same bus and walked right over him and kept moving. She did not try to assist in any aid. At least if she had looked remorseful and tried to assist him after she did it, the judge might have been a little bit more lenient. But the fact that she just kept it moving, grabbed her son and kept it moving as if she just did not push this man off this bus, then that's not going to make people sympathize or empathize with her. I mean, they weren't going to do it anyway, but I mean, any light bit of empathy she could have gotten, it got thrown out the window. And it was not enough sorries that she could give that would make them change their mind either way about the sentencing that she gave. And if you notice in her apology, I didn't see anywhere where she acknowledged the family or saying that she's sorry for what she did to their loved one. She's basically apologizing on her own behalf and saying, I shouldn't have acted out like that. I shouldn't have did this. I shouldn't have did this. I didn't see anything saying that she apologized to the family for taking away their loved one. So that plays in there as well. See, when you take them plea bargains and you trying to plead, you know, your last little bit of pleas in hopes that they can sway a different decision, you got to really take all of that into consideration. And in that moment, she squandered it. So now she has to deal with the consequences of her actions. And she has another 8 to 20 years to think about it. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you have not done so already, make sure that you hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video or go live.